Hey guys, Anthony Beckham here, and today we're going to be talking about the top 7 mistakes to avoid when buying a house in Roseburg, Oregon. So let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead and hop right into it. Starting with mistake number 7, putting the cart before the horse. So this is a very important place to start this video because getting pre-approved is oftentimes one of the most important first steps before buying a home. And while you may have heard that before, and maybe real estate agents have said they're not going to show you houses until you're pre-approved, well, they may just not have explained why it's important, because there are several very legitimate reasons to get pre-approved before you start looking. The number one most important reason why it's important to get pre-approved before you start shopping is because of just how darn crazy the market is right now. So for every one house, there's usually 5+ offers. And out of those 5 offers, if you're the only one who isn't pre-approved, we can basically guarantee we're gonna be at the bottom of their list, no matter what our offer looks like. And whenever you're purchasing a home, there's several parts of the team. You know, there's yourself, there's your lender, and there's your real estate agent. And we all have to work together for you to have a positive buying experience. So it just wouldn't make sense to leave one of those most trusted advisors throughout the whole process out of the process until the last minute. It's only going to hurt your buying experience in the long run. Mistake number 6 to avoid, not studying your market. So a lot of times whenever I hear from you guys, it may be 6 to 12 months out before you even plan on buying or moving to the area. Now, what I normally say is that is the perfect time frame to start actually learning about this market. So typically we'll get a decent idea of what it is that you're looking for so we can start to send opportunities your way. And that's not because you're gonna buy anytime soon. I mean, like I said, a lot of times people are 6, 12+ months out, and it may be a year or two before you even buy. But that is the perfect time to actually start studying the market that you're going to be moving to, because every market is so vastly different. And whenever it is time to make that big decision of purchasing a home, you want to make sure that you really know a good deal when you see it and know how often those kind of deals come up, get a feel for the neighborhoods and everything else that comes along with studying a market before you move there. Mistake number 5, focusing too much on the deal. So for most of us, this home purchase is gonna be the place where you're gonna be living, where your family's gonna be living, where you're gonna be raising a family. So there's a lot more that goes into that than just finding a good deal. Now, I do own an investment company as well and have my own rental properties and that sort of thing, and can appreciate a good deal just as much as the next guy. But whenever you're actually buying a house for yourself, what's gonna make more of a difference than, you know, saving 10 grand on buying a house on the bad side of town right next to the railroad tracks versus buying a home that's maybe in a premier neighborhood, that has projected value increases over the coming years, maybe has close proximity to work, good school zones. Those are going to be more the things that you're going to be more concerned with as you spend more time in this home. So that $10,000 that you saved by moving into the ghetto really only saves you $50 a month in your monthly payment. And once you're actually living there, we don't want you to have buyer's remorse. So we need to be thinking about the things that are going to make a difference to you and your lifestyle when you are picking the home for you and your family. Mistake number 4, your online value or Zestimate. So this is one that I have to address for both my buyers and sellers. It's a question that I'm commonly asked, you know, how accurate is the Zestimate or the online estimate of value from Trulia or Realtor.com or Redfin or wherever it is, these computer generated numbers? And the quick answer to that question is I've seen it both ways. I've seen it 6 figures higher than appraised value, and I've seen it 6 figures lower than appraised value. And so we got to remember that it is a computer generated number. It's an algorithm. So It can't take into consideration your open concept kitchen, your granite countertops, your proximity to the country club. Those are all things that the computer doesn't take into consideration whenever giving you that generated value. Some quick searching online of recently sold properties in that neighborhood in the last few months is gonna give you a good idea of what that property should be selling for. Not to mention, that's what having a good real estate agent is for. That's something that they're going to do for you, looking at those comparable sales to help you determine value. And let's not forget, the CEO of Zillow, home of the Zestimate that we're talking about, that I get asked about all the time, actually sold his own personal home for 40% less than the Zestimate. Don't believe me? Google it. It's crazy, I know. Mistake number 3, expecting an increase in value. Now, we have been in the best real estate market in history, especially over these last couple of years, record low interest rates, record low inventory, and prices going up double the speed of what they have in the past. I mean, especially these last couple years in our own local market, double-digit appreciation in value year after year. And while you may not have expected me to say this, even though there's been a market increase for the last 10 years, year after year, there is no guarantee that your home's gonna be worth more in 6 months, 12 months, or even a few years from now. When buying your next home, make sure that you're not just making a speculative purchase, assuming that you can sell that property and make a bunch of money next year, because there's no guarantee that that is gonna happen. Mistake number 2, not budgeting for hidden costs. So whenever you're buying a home, there's gonna be quite a bit of expenses before you even get your keys. First being your home inspection, budget around $400, your appraisal, which is gonna be another $900. Does the property have a well? We'll go ahead and add another $400 to that for your well flow test. Does it have a septic tank? Go ahead and add another $700 for pumping and inspection of the septic. And that's not even taking into consideration your earnest money deposit, your down payment, or the closing costs through your bank. And remember, this is all before you even get your keys. And if you're not expecting those expenses, not having those conversations with your lender, with your real estate agent, they could certainly catch you off guard because they do add up super fast. And this mistake even goes a step deeper because the expenses don't stop just once you get your keys. You now have a roof, you have a hot water heater, you have appliances, you have an HVAC system, and all of these things are gonna need maintenance or replaced at various intervals during home ownership. So say you have to replace your water heater, that could be $1,000. Your HVAC system, that could be $7,000. Your roof, that could be $12,000 plus. So it's something that you should definitely be taking into consideration. And while real estate has proven to be a great investment here in the United States, year after year over time, it is not for everybody. And there should definitely be a savings set aside for whenever those items do come up. Mistake number 1, not thinking long-term. So of course, this is a question I get a lot from my clients is, what's gonna happen with the real estate market or values here in the next 12 months, 24 months? And of course, nobody knows, but we can make educated guesses. But before even being concerned about value changes with the home, there are definitely a few things that we need to take into consideration before even knowing if purchasing a home is right for you. For the folks that are thinking about buying, but they're not sure if they're sold on the house or how long they want to be there, or say that school or work or something is going to take you out of the area, or you aren't even sold on the town yet because you haven't spent much time here, then it likely isn't a good idea for you to be buying at this point. My rule of thumb is if your time frame is 2 years or less before you think that you're going to be moving again, you definitely shouldn't buy. And that's just because if your only option is to sell it there in those next couple of years, we just don't know where the real estate market is going to be, and I don't want you caught holding the bag. And so it probably would make more sense to rent in the meantime. The other side of the spectrum is if you plan on being in this house for 5 years or more, then it doesn't really matter what happens in the next year or two with your value. Because value truly only matters whenever you're going to sell your property or refinance your property. The rest of the time, it doesn't really make a difference. And the only exception to any of this would be the fact if you're going to live in it for 2 years and then you're going to turn it into a rental. If that's the case, then that's great. I'm still buying properties even in this market right now, as crazy as the market is, because these are all investments that I know that I'm going to be keeping long term. And when looking at real estate as a long-term investment, we can see that values tend to go up over time. And if you're living there or if it's cash flowing with renters in the meantime, it doesn't really matter where the value is at on any given day. So now you guys can avoid the top 7 mistakes when buying a home in Roseburg, Oregon. So I appreciate you guys watching. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe and follow us for more videos all about living in Roseburg and Southern Oregon. So thanks again so much for watching, and I will see you guys on the next one. See ya.